What's up, and welcome into Under the Hood with me, Jay Hood. Thanks so much for downloading the podcast and checking us out on YouTube. Our YouTube continues to grow. Thank you so much. Please like, share, and subscribe what we do here on YouTube. Share the live, youtube.com. Look for Under the Hood with me, Jonathan Hood. We are proudly brought to you by the folks over at Northwestern Medicine. You see the story on the news. Northwestern Medicine opens up a brand new outpatient center in Bronzeville on the south side of Chicago. The center is serving more than 50,000 patients and family members from Bronzeville and nearby communities every year. Approximately 1,000 construction and 100 healthcare related jobs created. So, Northwestern Medicine in Bronzeville, the outpatient center, thanks so much for being able to provide for us this podcast. And boy, let me tell you something, what a time that we had in Las Vegas, Nevada. If you're listening to the Cap and J Hood morning show on ESPN 1000 and also on the ESPN Chicago app, you know, we've been talking about this trip for months now to be able to see the Bears and the Raiders in Las Vegas. And we just got back on Sunday. And it was just amazing, just the fans being there. We just want to be able to send a shout out to True Fan Travel as they were there at the airport. Their True Fan Travel. Go to that website, truefantravel.com, and they do a tremendous job being able to have radio stations and fans connect. And let me just tell you, at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, we saw so many Bears fans, not just there at the hotel, but up and down the strip. If you were not there, let me just tell you that if you are a Chicago Bears fan, you should be proud, not just from watching the game, because the game was just off the chain. There was so many Bears fans that were there to be able to check out the Bears against the Raiders in Las Vegas, but just how the Bears fan just painted the town blue and orange. You couldn't move a few feet without seeing a Bears fan in a Bears jersey and a Bears polo and a Bears hat, because they flew in thanks to truefantravel.com. And even, well, aside from that, just so many Bears fans want to be able to party on Friday and Saturday and then be able to roll into Legion Stadium on Sunday to check out the Bears and the Raiders. What a great time that we all had. So just shout out to them, truefantravel.com, for a great time. Dinner at Barry's Downtown Prime is my first time being there. That was great at Circa to be able to be with all my teammates from ESPN Chicago, our on-air teammates. That was awesome to see. And what a memorable night that is. And then back on the bus watching my friend Carmen DeFalco, Peggy Kaczynski, others just dancing on the bus, playing music as we going up and down downtown Las Vegas, and just it was great. It was a great time. But you know what's even greater than the time we had in Las Vegas is to see this man, Kevin Byard, and the Chicago Bears beat the Raiders 25-24. Let me give you some things that really stood out to me about the Chicago Bears, because Ben Johnson, the head coach for the Chicago Bears, really want to go 2-2 going into the bye. There's some things and some takeaways I have from this game. There are likes and things that the Bears have to work on. Number one, let's talk about the great things that we saw from the Bears win, pulling it out of the fire against the Raiders 25-24. Number one, the defense with 4 takeaways in the game. Geno Smith was rattled because Kevin Byard had 2 takeaways himself in the game. So happy for Byard because he's an established veteran on this team, and he did some great things for the Chicago Bears, not just his takeaways, his interceptions, but also just being able to keep everyone in their gaps as much as possible. Tyreek Stevenson also coming through. So I thought that the defense really did a great job of setting up the Bears for success offensively. Unfortunately, the Chicago Bears did not take advantage of that. That's why it was such a tight game at the end, 25-24. So the defense did the job. Now, that's a good thing. Another great thing is Roma Dunze with a touchdown. He has become the go-to guy here for Caleb Williams in this offense. He can stretch the field. He's a guy that can go up and get him. I really like Odunze as a wide receiver on this team. I said at the end of the season that we would know that Odunze is the guy. Hell, he's the guy now for the Chicago Bears team as far as Caleb Williams and his comfort. It's not a diss to DJ Moore or Zacchaeus or some of the other wide receivers, but Odunze has been really strong, I think, at the wide receiver position. Hell, Adunze and Williams came up in the same draft, so they have a rapport. And so I think it's really working out well. The other thing, too, so I mentioned defense and offense, and what's left? Special teams. Special teams are so key for the Chicago Bears. Josh Blackwell said that he kept watching the kicker from the Raiders and said, you know what? I'm going to find a way to block a kick. And they tried several times in the game, but Blackwell was able to get his hand up, and that was a difference in the game in which the Bears won 25-24. Special teams are the key. Not just Blackwell with the key block to end the game, which was just tremendous, by the way. You could tell how many Bears fans was at Allegiant Stadium for this one because they were just on fire. When they saw that kick, those fans were just like going nuts, and rightfully so. It was blocked by Blackwell. But also, I just want to point out that Taylor, the punter, was able to get it to the 2 or 3 yard line, which was great. I mean, they say he booms them in practice. That's fine, but we got to see this in the game. You have to justify your draft status by being able to be as solid as you are as a punter. If you're that good in practice, I want to see that in the game. But Santos also kept the Bears' hopes alive because he did his job kicking the football, and he got a game ball for it yesterday. And so special teams, the offense and defense came to play for the Chicago Bears. It's never easy. I mean, I know a lot of us play fantasy sports, or we think that we're GMs or head coaches because we talk a lot about what we think that our team should do. But when it comes to playing on the road, it is so difficult to win in this National Football League. It is not easy to win in this league at all. When you think about it, the Bears go in, even though they have the advantage because they have more loud fans there, doesn't mean that you're going to win. Sometimes it takes individual accomplishments for you to be able to win football games. Even though there's some things that were questionable, which we'll get to in a moment, I'm just telling you the likes. Even though there's some things that the Bears have to be better at, individual performances like Blackwell we talked about, like Roma Dunze, like Caleb Williams. The resolve for Caleb Williams was great for him to just not be frustrated and hang in there. I liked what I saw from Caleb Williams, knowing that he wasn't going to have his best game. He still showed the resolve to be able to keep the ball alive, utilizing his legs, connecting to his receivers. Even though Cole Kmet didn't have his best game, and the box score would say differently, but if you watch the game, you know that it might be one of his worst games as a Bear because of drop passes and penalties and the like, but others have to pick up the slack. If someone is not having a good day on the football field for the Chicago Bears, someone has to pick up the slack, and that's Bayard, and that's Stevenson, and that's Andrew Billings in the middle, and that is Roma Dunze, and that's Caleb Williams. And so I really liked what I saw from the Bears to just hang in there and win that game against the Raiders 25-24. Some things the Bears have to work on clearly is stopping the run. 240 yards surrendered, and they made Ashton Jeanty look like an all-pro. Yeah, that's not going to work. You have to be able to stop the run at some point. 138 yards, 21 carries for Ashton Jeanty, and a touchdown. Yeah, you got to be better than that. There's no question about that. That's something that the Bears have to be better at because Jeanty played well against Washington the week previous. The first 2 games, there was no running lanes for Jeanty, but the Bears missing tackles, arm tackles, that's not good enough. That could have cost the Bears the game. Max Crosby was a monster, and I thought that in the second half he was slowed by the change that Ben Johnson made throughout the game with the offensive line, in which we saw Benedict on the offensive line. We also saw a guy that we've been talking a lot about, Nazi Trapillo. He got a chance to play as well. And so maybe that slowed down Crosby, but he was a monster in that first half. Got a pick and batting down balls and getting to Caleb Williams. I mean, he was just amazing. So you want to get the ball out as quickly as possible when you have a pass rush because you're not going to play the Cowboys and the Raiders all the time. You got to get the ball out quickly. But obviously running the football for the Bears was not good enough either. I mean, so 18 carries, good for 56 yards between the running backs, Kyle Monangai and DeAndre Swift. Swift, 14 carries, 38 yards. They had that key touchdown, very key touchdown. So, you turn the page on this game, but again, the Bears have to be able to run the ball a lot better. Kyle Monangai is a rookie, 4 carries, 18 yards. His longest was 9. It's a strong 9. Tell you that. It was a strong 9 that he had out there, but it's few and far in between for the Bears. And that's not a blame of the offensive line solely. It's not a blame on Caleb Williams or Ben Johnson. It's a talent issue when it comes to running the football. This has to be better for the Chicago Bears. You cannot move through the season past the deadline and go, that's good enough, because it's not good enough. So I thought that Caleb and the offensive line, I thought that they were given great field position by the defense, and they didn't capitalize on it well enough. Field goals are fine, but 7's better. You want to get into the end zone. So that was something that the Bears have to work on. But here's the thing. If you're a Bears fan, 2-2 sounds better than 1-3. Because when I see this Bears team, the way that they performed against the Raiders under the tutelage of Ben Johnson, who's seemingly out of his mind because he's so intense and he's so into the team winning, I'd rather be 2-2 going into the bye than 1-3. The Raiders are 1-3. My friends in Vegas and Oakland and Los Angeles, they feel like they've got no hope because they feel like under Pete Carroll that this is kind of a resetting of the franchise, and it is. The Bears are trying to go someplace this year, and so my hope is that after the bye, that the Bears will continue their momentum, continue to work on things, because this football team has a chance to be able to be better incrementally with the quarterback, incrementally with the defense. The defense now making plays without Jalen Johnson. Now Tyreek Stevenson stepped up in a big way. Others have stepped up big for this defense. So all I can tell you is I'd rather be at 500 going into the bye than 1-3 trying to dig out of a hole. You know the teams that are 1-3 in the NFL, they feel like, boy, they got to get on a roll. This is not baseball where you got 162 games to try to dig yourself out of certain holes throughout the season. It's good. The Bears are 2-2 at this point in time. We're going to hear from my crazy cousin Wiley in just a moment because it's Monday. So, of course, we're going to get his thoughts about the Chicago Bears. He's a crazy Chicago sports fan, loves his Bears, loves Chicago sports. So we'll hear from Wiley in just a moment. I just want to point out also, along with the great trip we had in Vegas, talking about a great Bears victory from behind against the Raiders, we're going to get playoff baseball. And it won't be my White Sox. It won't even be my Alaskan Nanooks. It won't even be them. It's going to be the Chicago Cubs. And the Cubs will take on the San Diego Padres in starting Tuesday. There'll be afternoon games starting at the friendly confines of Wrigley Field. The starter for the Cubs will be Matthew Boyd because Kate Horton can't go. Boyd is a solid starter, and I think that he can do well for the Cubs. I just want to point out that the Padres are coming in here winning 7 of their last 8. It's not one of those things where it's like, well, that's the regular season, now it's the playoffs. You want to be able to play some good baseball and have some momentum going into the postseason. I've seen the Padres a lot this year. For my Sox boycott or my Sox dismay, I've watched a lot of Padres baseball just to stick it to the White Sox and for the last couple of seasons. So they can be hot or cold. We talk about the Mets, how they just got eliminated, even though they got, almost $500 million worth of talent. The Padres sometimes can just kind of just go cold offensively. And from the Cubs standpoint, they want to be able to just attack the baseball. It's not about a bunch of big fly home runs. The Cubs have to just continue to keep the line moving against the Padres pitching. Padres bullpen is very impressive, but sometimes the offense can be hot or cold. So this is a coin flip for me. I can't tell you that the Padres are going to win this series. Can't tell you the Cubs are either. But for the Cubs, it's about starting pitching and just timely hitting. Just get the ball on the ground. Just continue to just have good at-bats against the Padres starters. But this should be an interesting series. The Cubs are finally in the playoffs for the first time since, 2020? It's been a while. And so taking on the Padres is fun to be able to talk about postseason baseball in Chicago. All right, let me give a call to my crazy cousin Wiley. We'll get his thoughts about the Bears as they take on the Raiders and win 25-24. Bye week and then Washington coming up. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our podcast here, Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood, on YouTube, as well as Ben Johnson, the head coach for the Bears, try to find a way with this season to keep things moving. Let me call Wiley and we'll get things underway with him. There he is, folks. There he is. Look at that jersey. Look at that jersey. It's now could just 18. Okay, it's Caleb. Okay. Just making sure it wasn't 10 or some other nonsense. Cousin Wiley's with us here, Talk Bears. Hello, Cuzzo.
What's going on, Cuzzo? We are streaking right now. We are streaking. It's a great time to be alive. Bears win. Packers don't win again. It's a great time.
It's a good
How
day.
was your how was how was your weekend, Cuzzo? Like you spent the weekend in Vegas, on the strip, gambling, taking in all the activities that comes along with Vegas. I'm sure you saw a few things. How was your weekend?
I had a tremendous weekend. We got in there Thursday night, and by that time it's like midnight, and we were on the air at 4 a.m. Pacific time. So we broadcasted live from the dark. No fans, just the dark on the Cap and J Hood show, right there at the beach at Mandalay Bay, in front of in the pool side. That was cool. But just being up and down the strip, hanging out with Bears fans, like being at the tables. No one arms bandit this time. I did not put any money in the slots, but
Okay.
a little poker, a little bit of poker. So a few other games that I just learned to play, but it was good. Here's the thing: if you come out even, it's good. You win some money, you feel like I can be up as much as $300, $400, and this trip 450. And all of a sudden, you know how it works, man. You get up to a certain level, and if you don't cash in, all of a sudden your luck starts to go away. I don't know how that happens. How you doing? I don't know how that happens. How you all of a sudden your luck doesn't. Well, come on, I don't know. You play
Yes.
21, all of a sudden you get 18. How did that? I don't know how that happened. I got the best job, Carm. I don't know. I don't know how that happened, man. But all of a sudden, you come back to almost zero, and then you got to try to build it back up again. So that, along with being able to go to some great restaurants and hanging out, I just had a great time.
That's good. That's good. I watched the show on Friday, and I can tell that you appear to be the most responsible one. I think your
Yes.
partner hadn't slept in over a day, so yeah, it was he was having a great time.
Well, I mean, look, somebody got to drive that show.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody's got to drive the show. So it's just like, okay, we only had a couple hours of sleep because we just landed. And by the way, O'Hare, the South Sider, man, ain't nothing like Midway. Man, just at the hour 15 to get to O'Hare. I know that's the big airport because it's up north and you got to nah, man, just give me 65th Street. Let me just get through all the rough areas to get there to Midway. That's more along the lines of me and you. We like to be able to have some
Yeah.
rough potholes going in there, man. Oh, just I prefer Midway because I know the lay of the land. O'Hare, man, just seems like it's a lot, especially to get there from the south side. Come on, man. Just like so, yeah, that threw me off for a little bit too. But coming back smooth, Southwest, right into
Yeah.
right into Midway. Fantastic.
Yeah. A lot easier. Definitely a lot easier when you're on the south side. All right.
You're more of a
Bears.
Midway guy
Bears.
too, right?
Yeah,
You're a
I
Midway
prefer
guy, right?
Midway. Yeah, I like Midway. Yeah.
O'Hare just seems a lot. Now I know that you've flown O'Hare because of some kiss and fly and some places we had to drop some people off from time to time. So I understand you got to go up north because that's where she lives. So I understand. Uh, you know, I know you're a big fan of the snowfall. So sometimes you just got to go up there and spend some time. But otherwise, you're a Midway guy, correct?
Well, I mean, I like to melt the snow, but you know, uh,
Oh, you don't say. You don't say. So yeah. So that, but otherwise, cousin Wiley, it was great. The one thing about Vegas now, you don't know about the time. It can chew you up and spit you out. At the end, you're just exhausted. I mean, because you don't know what time it is. I'm hanging out with Waddle. Waddle says, I used to be a guy that could stay up all night. Just like I said, well, you're a grandfather now, Waddle. You just can't stay
yeah,
up. Like, I mean, we're up until 2 a.m. Pacific, but you don't know what time it is because you're just out there having fun. You're just having fun,
Yeah.
going to these different places and checking out things and places, and
Yeah.
things. So it was all good.
Yeah. And alcohol always never hurts.
Oh, brother, why is it that you go to so many? We'll get to the Bears in a second. I just want to ask you because you're a man that knows your way around a bar. I don't understand some of these places, Wiley, where they don't. When I ask for Crown Royal, I shouldn't get a look. No look. You know what I'm saying? Like that is still advertised in sporting events. It's still a top shelf liquor. So when I ask for you to invent, I shouldn't have to wait for it underneath the bar and then break the seal. You mean no one's ordering it besides me? Don't make me feel old
Well,
now, but old Crown Royal still matters today.
you're a brother. You know,
Well,
you're a brother who's been around uh, for a while, so you know what's good minus a trend. Right now, you have so many people who are following trends or who really don't drink at all. Just they'll take whatever you put out. So like
yeah,
that's the challenge. But yeah, you're going to a place where you got to think it's a huge tourist place. They're not getting a lot of brothers, who's coming there. And if they do get those brothers they don't want to stand out. So it's like, oh, everybody else drinking whatever this, flavor of the day is. Oh, let me have some of that, so you can
Knob
go back
Creek.
home and say, yeah, I had some Knob Creek this weekend. It was great. What was it? I don't know. I think it was tequila. No, it's not tequila, sir. No, it's not tequila.
No, I understand. I understand. Oh, by the way, our guy Ruel from our family, he loves our podcast. By the way, he told me he enjoys part of our family, enjoys watching the podcast. So shout out to him in Vegas. I got a chance to visit him in Henderson. So shout out to you, sir, for checking out the show.
Great guy. Great guy.
We love being able to have family watch our show and then critique us afterwards
Absolutely.
of what we're doing. So it's just awesome. So I want to get your thoughts, sir, about what we saw with the Chicago Bears. The Bears beat the Raiders 25-24. As I was saying on ESPN Chicago and to start our podcast, it's hard to win, Wiley. It's hard to win in this league. And if you can pull out a victory the way the Bears did and still make a lot of mistakes along the way and still pull it out, good for the Bears.
I agree. It was a game they lose last season in the season before that because they when things got tough, they found a way to lose. And Caleb started off slow last game. I'm not sure the reason why. Maybe you think he had how many winners do you think he shoved down his throat last week, Hood?
You're not going to do that to me. Zero. How about that? Zero.
Okay. So, all right. Well, I mean, I thought he may have stopped at the winner circle. Had a few, but okay. Um, but yeah, he started.
AI is not going to cut that for you, so I don't know why you put that out there. You don't think AI is going to use that as a hot cut here on YouTube. But no, he said he had none. He says he doesn't do the nitroglycerins or the nitrates. He doesn't do those.
Oh, okay, I didn't know he didn't like wieners. Okay, makes sense. All right, but he started slow, and I was surprised because I thought like they had an opportunity to take advantage of a bad Raiders defense, and then turnovers by the Bears defense put them in great field position, but a little sluggish. And then the second half came, and things picked up. And what I have liked most about Caleb since he's been a Bear, even before he became a Bear, was that the moment is never too big for him. When the pressure's on
Mm-hmm.
late in the game, he never cracks. So it was good to see him get the chance to lead the Bears down the field, game on the line, and get a touchdown so the Bears can get in the winner's circle again this week. And, 2 in a row going into the bye, and it come out refreshed and ready to avenge the loss to the Commanders from last season. So I'm excited.
You did say winner circle, right? That winner circle.
Yes, he got into the winner circle. I forgot it wasn't. He said he didn't shove Wieners down his
He didn't.
throat.
No one said shove.
No.
Nobody. No, don't be saying shove. There's no
Okay.
shove. Please.
Okay. His dog, Super, had wieners last week.
Yes. Yes. But they were not shoved anywhere. No wieners were shoved anywhere. I want to make sure that that's clear. That's not what happened.
Well, I mean, a dog doesn't have hands, so you know, somebody
Okay.
has to.
All right. That's it. That's it. No. So you're saying Caleb's into bestiality? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you just said right here? Is that what you said?
No, I was asking a question about the wieners in the wiener circle and all those
Okay.
things. Just curious.
Oh, that's
I'm
not
just
what
curious,
you.
Cuzzo.
Yeah, no, he's not into any of that. He's not into it. He
Okay.
doesn't do that. Yes.
Okay. All right.
No one said anything about shoving. I think shoving was your term. I don't think no one shoved anything. No one shoved any hot dogs anywhere. There's no shoving.
Okay. Well, I thought like in Chicago we call them wieners. You know.
Yes.
But okay.
What do you think Caleb calls it?
I don't know. I don't want to
Probably
speculate.
brought to you by Northwestern Medicine. That's right, folks. Northwestern Medicine. They've had their outpatient center in Bronzeville, 4822 South Cottage Grove Avenue. Check them out, nm.org, for Northwestern Medicine. And boy, they're proudly providing us with this. If you have a wiener issue,
Yes.
Northwestern Medicine is always there for you in Bronzeville.
Bronzeville. Little antibiotics, and you're good to go.
Do you have any other observations besides Caleb and his wiener that you'd like to be able to provide for us here today as the Bears win 25-24?
So I felt like even though it was a little sluggish getting started, I felt like the offense still is heading in the right direction.
Yes.
I think we saw our best right tackle in the game on yesterday. I think Oz is the best right tackle on the team. I think Wright is still a quality lineman, but I think he's probably better suited inside as opposed to outside. So I think the odd man out on the inside is probably Jonah Jackson at some point, because if we're watching and seeing who's making the most mistakes on the interior, it's him. Like he's making the most mistakes. So I feel at some point you're going to have to figure out a way how you can put Wright at right guard and then just leave Trapillo on the at tackle, and then the Canadian at left tackle. But I think they got the right mix, pretty much the right mix right now, because the line is solid, receiving is solid, running attack is still a question, but I think that's more so of an issue with Swift and them waiting for Monangai to develop. But I expect to see Monangai splitting carries with Swift after the bye, because he is a guy who, even yesterday we saw, he's going north and south. He's not dancing. He's hitting the hole, and he's getting positive yards up the middle. He's not looking to bounce anything outside. He's just running straight up the middle, getting positive yards. So, but yeah, I'm encouraged by the offense. And then when it comes to Dennis Allen and his defense, God bless him. Like, he's doing the best he can with what he has. Secondary is just Swiss cheese as far as injuries, and he's making do with it. Stevenson has stepped up again, another big game from him. Bayard is looking like an all-pro safety. Still not sure what Brisker is, but overall, I think Dennis Allen's doing a great job with what he has, and you get 4 turnovers, and you bring those into the opponent's territory. You expect more than, I think, 6 points in the first half, and then 13 points overall from the turnovers. Like, you expect more than that. So I'm encouraged by what Dennis Allen is doing for what he has, but then Like I'm still encouraged by the offense. I still see them taking steps, even though Caleb and Komet primarily struggled early on. They got the job done at the end. Did you see question Hood? Did you see Komet with like any wise guys over the weekend?
No,
Just
I did
asking.
not see. I know the Bears were in Henderson, so they were never on the Strip in Vegas. So I did not see the Bears while I was out there
Okay.
on the Strip. No.
I thought someone may have gotten to Komet because what was it 3 or 4 drops, 3 or 4 false starts
Uh huh.
by one
Well, it
guy.
wasn't that. Well, that wasn't that many. Now, hold on a second. Now it wasn't that many, but it was one of his worst games as a Bear. I'll tell you that.
Yes.
And you made 18 look bad, by the way, for because given that's very uncharacteristic the way that Komet played. It's not like there was somebody over his shoulder because Colston Loveland's hurt, so he had every opportunity to do tight end things. And even though he had a couple of catches, Wiley, I thus thought it was very strange and out of character for Komet to be again dropping passes and also being undisciplined.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
wasn't like him. So, I thought maybe he enjoyed Vegas too much and, some things happened and he had to, make some deals. I don't know. Someone gave him an offer he couldn't refuse.
Let's talk
I
about
don't
this for
know.
a second. No. Because I want to ask you about the offensive line because you made a point about the offensive line. Let's talk about this for a second. Okay. In the day of point shaving and all of that, and even today, where you have some athletes that are not making a lot of money, for whatever reason, we saw this with Jonte Murray, where, he's playing his under for assists and rebounds, and he's giving it to family members to cash in on. It's only because he's not a millionaire. But what about those that are making a lot of money? Do you still think that those that are making a lot of money feel like they need to be in the pockets of the mob to make these mistakes? Because everyone's making over a stack, 2 stacks. Do you need to do that just to be able? How much money do you think that an athlete will get on the side if he is getting leveraged by mobsters?
Well, I think sometimes it's not about what you're getting. I think it's about what they're providing you, and you have to give something in return. So if you find yourself in some trouble, somewhere near Lake Forest, and someone does you a solid and helps you out, and you owe them a favor later on, they may try to cash that favor in, you know, when you're in Vegas playing the Raiders. It's like, hey, I need you to, maybe drop a few passes. When you're getting ready to score, maybe, get a couple false starts, to set the offense back. So we need to hit this spread on the nose. So we need 1 point, nothing more, nothing less,
Uh-huh.
and you try to make it happen. If I'm looking at the game yesterday, he took at least 2 touchdowns off the board by dropping passes. One he was
Mm-hmm.
going to score on himself, and he just decided to drop that one. Then the other would have put them closer in the red zone to potentially score another touchdown, and he dropped that pass. And then there was one that was somewhat questionable, but then there was another in the third quarter he dropped, and I felt like at that point, Caleb made a conscious decision. I'm not throwing him the ball, even if he's wide open. I'm going to ignore him, and he did because there was one play he was like this, and Caleb was like dumping it off to Swift because you're going to drop it. So no, I'm not throwing you the ball. I'm dumping it off.
Okay. So what you're saying is that that there are times where it's something that they receive in return. You're saying this is
Yeah.
monetary though. Still, you're saying, right? Okay, this is what happened. And you believe that could have happened to Komet. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, Komet could have, gotten himself in a little dicey situation, and he has a quiet boy image. You don't want to tarnish that image, So someone guy can help you out, get you out of that position. You take advantage of that. But then that guy may want you to do him a favor later in life. Just put your conspiracy theorist head on, Cuzzo. You got to wear it. You got to wear it.
No.
Something was fishy about his play yesterday.
No.
All starts, all the drop passes. He probably had more false starts and drop passes in one game than he's had his entire career.
I see. I see. So I mean, I was just wondering how many pots that you could put on your head from the kitchen. Could you go in there and just put a pot on your head for your conspiracy
Well,
theory? Could you do that for me? Just
okay.
go to the stove. Just put a
You
pot on.
see,
Yeah.
you see how big my head is. I probably can get at least two on this. On it, at
Yes.
least two. At least
Yes.
two.
Maybe Mama's colander that she used to do. Put the cabbage in. Just put that in there.
Yes.
Just put it right over your
Yeah.
head with that nonsense. What's the matter
Yeah.
with you saying that on the air? What is the matter with you? You just call that
Well,
man out.
well, I mean, when you introduce gambling into sports, and you're in Vegas, which is the gambling capital of America, anything can happen. Anything can
Oh my
happen. You just
God.
gotta.
Okay. We'll
So,
turn now to
Cuzzo,
the offensive line. No, I don't want to
yes,
hear any more
offensive
about
line.
this. No, I don't want to hear any more about your conspiracy theories. Give you an overnight show. That's where those conspiracy theories happen. West of the
Let's.
Rockies, east of the Rockies. Go ahead.
Yes.
I saw a gambler walking around Cole Komet's home. Come on, stop it, George
Did he have a bag
Norrie.
of cash?
Well, I don't want to know. I don't know. No, I just know that he was not good. That was probably the worst game I've seen him as a Bear. I don't know if the mob was involved. I will say this though about the offensive line. You make a great point about the offensive line. Something that you're actually making sense about here on this show today. Damn offensive line. Darnell Wright has a arm issue, an elbow issue. They could wrap it up, but I don't know if he can bend and tackle with that thing. The bye week will tell a great story whether or not Darnell Wright can play. All I know is that Darnell Wright every game gives you at least two penalties because of false start or something else, right? But otherwise, he plays okay. Now, here's the thing about me, Wiley. You should know this by now. That's those pro football focus like numbers and stats. Like I don't get it, right? Those Collinsworth stats, which I don't understand. Like I'm watching the game. If someone is always called for a penalty, there's some undisciplined nature there, or that person has a problem being able to guard or tackle the person in front of them. But they grade him out. It's like, oh, it's an A minus. Yeah, man. But I mean, if you're costing your team yardage because you're making mistakes, then I don't know where Pro Football Focus gets those numbers. I don't go by that. I go by just like the left eye and the right eye. If you're not playing
Yes.
well, then he has a problem. So it makes me wonder, like from Braxton Jones' standpoint at left tackle, like I mean, we saw a new left tackle, new right tackle in this game that was put in the game. So what does that look like? I mean, what does that look like in Braxton Jones in particular?
Braxton Jones was done before the season started. Like he was able to linger for a little bit because of his veteran experience, but he needed to get healthy and improve while getting healthy, and he couldn't get that done. And you had the Canadian that was there that was picking up things quickly, uh, playing with
Benedict.
intensity. Yeah, Benedict playing with intensity that we rarely see Braxton Jones play with. Braxton Jones is usually just a solid kid, but doesn't have a dog in him. Benedict has the dog, and he is just as athletic as Braxton Jones was or is. He just doesn't have the arm length, but he's making up for with just the sheer grit, and you like to see that. And I think that Ozzy Trapillo is the fundamentally sound right tackle. Even when he gets beat, his arms are long enough to make up for it. It's because yesterday a couple times Crosby had beat him by a step, but he was able to push him aside because his arms are so long. So I think
Mm-hmm.
he just makes more sense at that spot. And you put Darnell Wright and right guard if he gets healthy because Jonas Jackson is, like I said, he's just, if he's not a penalty, he's out of place. He's missing a block. Um, he, to me, is the weakness of the interior. And if you can just fix that, I think you're looking at, I think the line is good right now, but I think you're looking at a really, really good offensive line if you can just tweak a couple of things because I think the talent on the roster is there. I just think that some people are out of place, and then you needed time for Aji to develop because I think we as fans sometimes, and even the media, miss that part of when it comes to NFL players. We want to see them out there immediately and playing immediately because of draft status. When the reality is sometimes it takes guys a little while to develop. They need a little seasoning, and I think that Ozzy got 4 weeks of seasoning, and I think after the bye he should be ready to step in, especially if Wright is still out. But even if he's not, I think he should still be ready to step in. So things are
You
heading in the right
mentioned
direction.
you mentioned the Bears defense, and so you're looking at Kevin Byard on our video on YouTube. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We do on YouTube for Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. So, Cuzzo, this young man here, this veteran, was such a catalyst with his 2 picks yesterday. And so he said that in practice, he picked off Caleb Williams leading into the game against the Raiders. So if you notice, his picks were in the same spot, right? He made sure that he was able to jump the route twice on Jacoby Myers. So that I thought that was great. You talked about this defense and say that you feel bad for Dennis Allen. Well, here's the thing. Like, the Bears are not a Jalen Johnson away from being a complete defense. And the reason why is because when Montez Sweat and Dio Odabingo, those two are not getting to the quarterback enough. There's not enough pressure with those two on the edges. And so even though I thought that Billings played a solid game in the middle, the big guy just, clogging up the lane, I just am impressed, as you mentioned, of Stevenson and Byard and others that's picking up the slack. And also, once again, at the linebacker position, Edmonds got the job done again. 11 tackles led the team. So, look, yes, the Bears are making do because of injuries, but others are picking up the slack. And that's a hallmark of a good team when others can be able to help out when others are injured.
No, I agree, and I think that Dennis Allen has adjusted his defense to more of a bend, don't break style,
Mm-hmm.
where he's willing to give. They're still looking to force turnovers, and that part helps. But it's more of like, hey, we're going to try to prevent the big play, and we're going to force you to dink and dunk down the field and then beat us. Whereas before, he was like, look, we're playing man to man. We're going to stay in man to man, no matter what. And they were getting burned because of the talent level. And I think they're better suited for zone with the guys they have on the roster right now. But you get back Kyler Gordon, you get back Jalen Johnson, and you get back TJ Edwards. I think now you're better positioned for success because you got two sticky cornerbacks who can cover well, which may give a Sweat or Odengbo or even a Garrett or someone else time to get home and get a sack. So I think that has been the biggest issue. And then like Dexter and company should be stopping the run better than they are. And to me, that's more problematic than anything else. But the result is the result. Like they've been opportunistic when it comes to forcing turnovers. They've been great on
Yeah.
third down. I want to say they're third in the league on third down. So
Mm-hmm.
like they're doing the best they can. So like I'm giving Dennis Allen slack because I know what he has to work with. I know the defensive line when healthy isn't great. So he's doing the best. And then the secondaries and the linebackers are banged up. So my hat off to him. Like they could have easily given up a lot of points the last couple of weeks, but he's held the line, and the Bears got 2 wins, so they can continue that pattern going out the bye when they play DC. I think we're talking about a team that's going to be above 500. So, and then you play the weak part of your schedule.
I want you to tell our audience about for those that have never done this, what it's like to be able to be traveling with other fans to a stadium that's not Soldier Field, because you've done a lot of that in your life of being able to go to Bears games, in other cities, other countries. So, I heard 70% possibly Bears fans there at Allegiant Stadium, a great house. Raiders fans were there, but they weren't as loud clearly as a Bears fan was. So what is that like for you personally to know that, hey, there's going to be people in uniforms like me, blue and orange, rooting for the Bears? What's that like on the road?
It's like a huge fraternity when you arrive. like you can instantly spot your people, that's in your tribe, and like there's an instant connection because you know why one, you know why you're here, and then two, you know, your opposition is the opponent. So like you bond based on those things, and then alcohol never hurts either. So you travel to a different
Right.
different city, different country, and you're drinking, you're having a good time, and you're just fraternizing over your team, and then you're looking to have bragging rights against the other team and their fans. So it's a great time. It's a great time. Like I haven't seen it to the point where there was like any fights amongst fans. So like that's
Yeah.
always a good time. You can go out, have a good time, and not a lot of riffraff. So yeah, it's great.
You know what's cool, Cuzzo, is that no matter the person, the differences you might have with a person, economic, political, whatever, the thing that bonds many of us is sports. Especially, you
Yes,
mentioned the tribe, right? You're wearing the same uniform or the same gear you're not worried about anything else. You don't even worry about what's on the news. You're not worried about social issues. You're not worried about religion. It's just the religion is sports. And so that's
yes.
so cool that when everyone gets together, man, it's just like, hey, man, I don't know you, you don't know me, but we have a common bond, and we're going to high five and drink together and celebrate when our team does something well.
No, you're absolutely right, Kazo, because sports gives us a diversion from life. Like
Yeah.
we have you got jobs, you got kids, you got other stresses that come with life, and then sports is that chosen diversion from life. It's that it's that place of solace where you go to get away from the shit that bothers you 24/7. So in those moments, you're not looking for division other than someone that's outside of your tribe. Outside, but you're embracing everyone else, and I think that is a a pure and way of living, probably something that in many ways we need to embrace as a society because there's too many divisions. There's too many divisions like amongst us, whether it be ethnicity, whether it be religion, politics, you name it. There's so many divisions. So when you can find something that brings people from all classes of life, all ethnicities, religions, politics, you name it, it brings them together for one common goal. That's really powerful. That's really powerful. So, like, shout out to sports, shout out to the Bears, shout out to the NFL, like because they're bringing people who wouldn't otherwise be affiliated with one another together for one common goal.
Cuzzo, lastly, we don't have a game to preview because it's going to be the bye week. So we'll be missing a show next Monday because there's no show because we're going to get ready for the Washington game coming up. But one thing that you have not talked about is Ben Johnson. So I want to give you the floor to be able to talk about Ben Johnson, your thoughts about him through the first 4 games of the season as Bears.
So when Ben Johnson first arrived, my thought was, okay, here's a guy who has experience in Detroit. He's done well offensively, but can he command the locker room? Can he lead men? And within the first week of him being here, I looked in his eyes and I felt like he could be that guy who could command the locker room, who could lead men. And he's shown that since he's been here. He has control of the team. He is a leader. And the details are things that matter to him in ways that I don't think matter to Eberflus or even to Matt Nagy to a certain extent. So I think he's the guy we hoped he would be. Just hoping he can build on that success. And then whether it's this year or next year, we can officially take off and start competing for championships instead of hoping to get into the playoffs. So I'm excited about Ben Johnson. I'm excited about his offense. I'm excited about the Bears' future with him as head coach.
Yeah, and don't cross him at the halftime interview if you're a Didi Kinkabwala. Don't cross him. He was pretty pissed off because he didn't like the way the Bears play. He saw the game slipping away from him, so he gets testy. he gets pissy, but as long as that manifests in the wins, I'm fine with it.
And he should. Like, here's, and I'd say this. I hope this isn't too politically incorrect, but her job as a reporter isn't to make news, to ask questions. And when you're in the heat of the moment and you're telling a coach, you need to do better. No one wants to hear that. And the look is he was biting his tongue so he wouldn't say the first thing that came to his mind, which showed some self-control, because some people may have not have bitten their tongue. They may have just said what they thought, and he didn't do that. She inserted herself into the story when she shouldn't have been. So when you're in that position and you're getting that role as a reporter, in a lot of ways because you're eye candy, be a reporter. Be a reporter. Don't insert yourself into a story. Don't try to create a story by attacking a coach or attacking a player. If you want to do that, get a studio show, or get on sports radio or ESPN and give your first take comments. Other than that, ask questions, be respectful, be professional. She wasn't professional, and his response was warranted, and I thought he showed a lot of restraint, because I can only imagine what he thought when he gave it a stare, but he decided not to say that because he likes his job and the $14 million a year that comes with it.
Did you say eye candy, Cuzzo? Did you say eye candy?
I mean, Cuzzo, we again, it may
Tom
not be
Rinaldi's
correct.
Hold on, you saying Tom Rinaldi's eye candy? Is that what you're saying?
No,
sideline reporter.
When they're hiring women for sideline reporters, they're not hiring, in most cases, the most qualified when it comes to sports knowledge. They're hiring the people who look great on television. They're hiring the women who look great on television, and I appreciate that as a fan, because I don't.
Sure you do.
I don't want to see a bunch of butt ugly people, telling me about a game. When you're a woman, I want someone that's attractive. You just kind of distract me from whatever I was doing. Okay. Like, oh, look at her. She has great thoughts.
All right.
She has great thoughts.
Okay.
And all she did was move
that's
her
fine.
lips.
We'll just cover that up there, and we'll let's. All right, that's it. Bring in the dog, please. We're gonna wrap this thing up before we're kicked off of YouTube. So where's the mascot? Is the mascot here?
We got to hold Rocky off until there is a game. He's been good luck for the game, so we'll hold him off until after the Washington game, because we don't want to waste his mojo for a week. He's been
okay. Well, that's fine.
Yeah, he's been trying to be active. He's trying to procreate. So shout out to Rocky.
Oh, it's trying to procreate. Okay, I see.
Yeah,
maybe our mascot and Caleb's dog would be interested in making some kind of hybrid. I think that'll work.
I don't know. I think Rocky may put something through his stomach.
All right. Well, and that'll be all for this show. So for Cousin Wiley, this is Jonathan Hood. Thanks so much for joining us here as we talk about a dog's dick size here on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. And again, and proudly presented by the fine folks over at Northwestern Medicine. That's right, folks. Bronzeville Outpatient Care Center in Bronzeville, 4822 South Cottage Grove Avenue in Chicago. nm.org is where you go to check out the appointments and everything else in the city. I'm sure they're proudly presenting this show here, as Cousin Wiley has given us. He's given us gambling issues with the Chicago Bears. He's given us wiener talk, and now he's talking about his dog dominating Caleb Williams' dog. All right, that's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so long, Cuzzo. Hopefully they'll allow us to come back next time. Here
so
he
long,
is, folks. There he is. Enjoy him. There he is, Cousin Wiley.
Those
all of his
are the days. Those are the days. Or those were the days.
Yeah, thanks, Arch. Can I get you a beer?
Yes.
Want to talk about want to talk about Jefferson? Yeah, Jefferson there he is, Jefferson. Oh my God, so long.